Joining us now, as he will every Wednesday this year, is the foreign editor at The Australian, Greg Sheridan. And Greg, plenty to talk about in the foreign affairs world. I might start by asking you for a tribute to Jim Molan.
Well, Andrew, it's great to be with you. So Jim Molan was a great man, a great figure in Australian history, one of the most consequential soldiers we've produced since the Vietnam War. Now, everything he did in his life until he entered Parliament was a tremendous success, but you'd have to say his time as a Liberal senator was intensely frustrating. He couldn't get his party to pay any attention on defence policy. Privately, he was contemptuous of Australia's defence effort. He spent years promoting an integrated national security strategy. Nobody in his own government paid a blind bit of attention to him. He was constantly pre-selected for unwinnable seats in the Senate and then got in by accident with people resigning and so on. And Andrew, honestly, I'd ask you if even you, the greatest political journalist in the country, can recall the names of the non-entities and the factional deadheads who the Liberal Party chose ahead of Jim Molan, a politician with one of the highest profiles in Australia. So it's farewell to a great man, and he spent the last decade of his life trying to tell us that we were radically unprepared in defence, and he found that a very frustrating experience.
Well, look, I think that segues straight into the Defence Strategic Review, and you revealed this week that it will, and Matt Thistlethwaite was on the program, basically confirmed your revelation, the Assistant Defence Minister, that it will be released the very first week of Parliament, which starts February 6. Have you got any mail on what's in it?
Well, yeah, I think we can reverse engineer a lot of what's in it from what the government has said and some of the decisions they've made. So they bought some new Kongsberg missiles for our frigates and for our air warfare destroyers rather, and our Anzac frigates, and they've bought these HIMARS missiles for the Army. I think the key to the DSR will be much greater use of our northern bases, our northern military bases, many of which are sort of, embryonic at the moment, and possibly the move of some defence resources to the north from the south, and a huge emphasis on missiles and missile platforms. I hope the DSR is very forward-leaning and looks to acquire new platforms to launch our missiles from. I hope it doesn't lose nerve, that it kills the tanks and all the other things we waste money on. And I hope it gives us a hurry up. I think one surprise in it might be a very strong section on the defence acquisition process, which has been so slow and so dysfunctional in Australia. That needs to change straight away. We don't need a new inquiry into it. We just need to change it immediately. Now, I hope all of that will change the culture and change the force structure of Australian defence.
And how much detail are you expecting on the way forward with AUKUS in there, or will it just have a hint of it before we get the AUKUS review back?
Well, so Andrew, it's no secret I'm a bit of a defence hawk. I'm a bit of a sort of a Dick Cheney. I never saw a weapons system that I didn't like. Yeah. But like the late Jim Molan, and I don't want to verbal Jim, but privately Jim was very sceptical about these nuclear submarines, as I am. I mean, I'm in favour of nuclear submarines, of course, but there just is no way on God's green earth that we can have a fleet of 8 nuclear submarines before probably 2050. Now, by 2050, Beijing will either be ruled by the Christian Democrats or we'll all be speaking Mandarin. The current strategic problem is going to be resolved long before these nuclear subs. And the nuclear subs are very sexy, but they're not going to have any effect at all on the only effect they'll have is they show people how close we are to the Americans. That's important. But militarily, I still think that the government should go ahead with a new conventional submarine, because we're going to end up with no submarines at all. And it's still very unclear whether AUKUS can sustain political support across the aisle in Australia and the United States. That is to say, the nuclear sub element of it, for all those decades. And we have no obvious plan B about submarines, and we'll end up like we were in World War II without any submarines at all.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, it's going to be a big couple of months in this space. Look forward to talking to you every week, or Kieran talking to you, Greg. Thanks very much for your time today.
Thanks, Andrew. Great to be with you.